why people are avoiding relationships. And the first thing I see is a woman. And you know what I love to do more than anything, chat? Hate on women. God, it's my favorite pastime. Woman hating woman, throwing stones at glass houses. Let's go! Let's go, chat!
Okay, wait, I'm so pissed off. I just got home from a date. The guy walked out literally 10 minutes into our date. So we matched on Hinge, and I have really good photos of myself on Hinge. A few of them are AI generated. They look exactly like me.
Yeah,
Hold up, what? Okay, one, she looks like she's in her 30s, so she's already at the wall. And they're AI generated, but they look exactly like me? No. Okay, this is like Photoshop on the extreme, right? Because everyone's like, oh, it's AI slop, everything's made of AI. Back in my day, old woman yells at clouds. Things used to be Photoshop, but now she's AI generated. Oh my, I would love to see. I want to see these photos. How bad is it from night and day difference from this empty egg carton to the AI?
Really good photos of myself on Hinge. A few of them are AI generated. They look exactly like me.
yeah, I'll be the judge of that. I feel like if you weren't trying to misrepresent something about your appearance, you wouldn't be using AI.
While we were out on our coffee / walking date, within like the first 15 minutes, he asked me where one of my photos was taken. I'm not a liar, so I said that it was an AI generated photo. And he said, yeah, I don't think we're a match. And he left.
You know what? I'll give her credit. It is actually quite similar to her. It is obviously heavily filtered because it is AI. Does it have as many wrinkles on her face or the eye bags underneath it or different things like that? It is pretty close, but it doesn't make her look as old as she actually is. With a lot of women, they put on too much makeup and it actually makes them look older than they actually are. And it kind of has this effect, right? It looks like late 20s, early 30s. Versus without the AI, she looks like mid to late 30s.
He left. That seems so dramatic to me. And also,
You know what? Maybe 40s, actually. Jesus.
like everyone is using AI generated photos. If they look like you, who cares? The ones I use with Dream Lens look exactly like me. They're not like
Yeah, exactly like you, except about 10 years younger.
the crappy ChatGPT ones. So what is the difference? Who cares? I don't know. If you're a straight man, let me know. What do you think?
You've got to be kidding me. You're gaslighting, right? It's easy to see why the guy was mad. The most noticeable thing that it got rid of was your acne. Less noticeable to guys, but her hair looks super dry and frizzy in real life compared to the AI photo. And last, I think the most important one, is that it removed wrinkles that are here, 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 and here, which makes you look several years younger than you actually are. But you know what? Good. I love the idea of women using AI photos on dating apps, because the more severe the catfish, the more people will stop trying to find relationships on their phone. These apps are cancer. They're like if mobile game companies took over the relationship market. Anyway, it's been a while on this channel, so I thought we'd check back in with modern internet dating and see how it's going.
And ladies, even men who went to Harvard Business School are losers. I just went on a first date with a man. He picked a restaurant. I knew that this restaurant was a happening restaurant, but he picked it and he went to Harvard. I thought that he knew to see if he was gonna need a reservation. He went to Harvard.
If you don't think this is
Chat, I'm not sure I'm gonna make it through this video, I'll be honest. This is why I like this content so much. Honestly, part of the reason why I had to stop watching this content, because it's so infuriating. She is a fucking cow. 300-pound cow. Hair all over the fucking place. She's obviously wearing makeup, but like it's not doing her any favors in this case. And she's complaining about what restaurant he chooses. Like, what? I don't know what restaurant it is. It doesn't have to be super fancy. It just has to be relatively nice. Like, be happy you're going on a restaurant date in general. There's lots of guys that go for coffee instead because it's so much cheaper. And honestly, coffee dates are the best one, right? Like, in the modern age, the first date should be coffee. It's cheap, you're in public, it's a lot more casual, and you're just getting to know each other. Super nice, super easy, nothing super crazy. Versus a restaurant date, which I would like restaurant dates to be the norm. I would like that to be the first date if we actually were in a proper society where women were actually worth going to the restaurant. But then you get catfished either by the AI lady or you have the fat cow showing up, complaining about the guy who went to Harvard, complaining about the restaurant choices. And then you get like stood up, you have to deal with all this bitchiness and you're wasting so much money on food. That honestly is decreasing in quality with each passing year, especially after COVID. And she's complaining he went to Harvard. That probably is a guy who has it all together. But like, oh, he chose the wrong restaurant. So therefore he's awful. Hey, cow is full of muscle. This is a pig. I mean, pig has some good stuff on them too. Blob. How about this? A blob.
Harvard.
If you don't think this is a made-up story for TikTok femcels, then you're an idiot. I believe this person more than I believe her.
I got catcalled twice on this walk.
No, you didn't. TikTok as a whole, especially the dating meta, is literally
That's a The whole point of transitioning is to try to pass as the opposite gender. So if he actually passed properly, he should be happy because that means that he actually is a woman and therefore is attractive. Literally the most important thing about being a woman is being attractive. And also getting pregnant, but the way to get pregnant is to be attractive, that way you get a man. So like when they're complaining about being catcalled, which by the way, I don't think happened either. I love Think Before You Sleep.
just the Arthur meme.
How do you know if any of this stuff is true?
You mean just lie? You really think someone would do that? Just go on the internet and tell lies?
That shit is so hilarious, and no matter how many times I watch this, it progressively gets funnier every year.
I just mean that some of the details.
Whoa, I never thought of that. This is terrible. What if none of it's true? What if they're all lying? How would we ever know?
If they only knew how many social media influencers would base their entire careers off of telling incredibly obvious lies that people are too stupid to recognize. I mean,
Hey, that's me! As a content creator. That is one thing I worry about. Like, I've been duped by AI a couple times because I'm retarded, and I'm aware of that fact. And it's really hard to tell what is actually true and what's not, which is one of the problems of aimless chasing, which is what streaming really is aimless chasing and being like, here's the current news, so here's what's happening. Oh, it's fake news. Well, okay, guess I was duped. Whoopsies. And it makes you lose your credibility. In the modern age, it's actually really hard. Obviously, the government lies to you. That's no surprise there, right? But if COVID in 2020 wasn't a huge wake-up call for a lot of people, even the government fucking lies to you. Blatantly so. You actually have to do your own research. I know. Horrible thought. You just have to take everything with a grain of salt. Chances are it's probably fake. And if it's not fake, then, well, congratulations. The world's even worse off than you thought.
how many men are taking dating advice on women from guys who are obviously in the closet, and how many women are taking pointers from other women who are obviously prostitutes?
Oh wait, he used to do lots of videos on this woman before. Oh, that okay, sorry. I'm having like flashbacks. Yeah, anyways.
I can't believe we still have women saying shit like this after relationship guru the Wizard Liz got cheated on by a Pokimane simp.
My husband loves me for simply existing.
How do you and your husband split finances?
We don't. This is not a two-way street. This is a one-way street. His money is our money, and my money is my money.
And I just think now, like, people are like, oh, that's gold digging, or that's something. No, it's not.
Okay, then I'm digging.
Yeah,
for
okay.
gold.
Holy shit, this chick is married. Well, ultimately I blame the man in this situation because as bad as all the catfishing and TikTok advice is, it's not nearly as problematic as the people who willingly choose the wrong partners despite everyone trying to warn them. However, it is entertaining to watch them double down publicly, especially if I don't like them, so let's talk about it. The woman you just saw is Jesslyn Singh. She's the wife of an Indian stand-up comedian named Akash, and she has a podcast and a TikTok account where she started cannibalizing the career of her husband for views by openly talking about what a degenerate she is.
Sometimes I get so painfully nostalgic for college. So for context, I went to college from 2011 to 2016. I was popping my and living my best life in these white boy frat houses, and I had a roster of guys that I would rotate.
So lesson number one.
So stoning or drowning? Or how do you or burning? How do you want to kill the witch? There's so much to unpack there. Holy shit. Okay, Indians need to be deported. They stay within their own. The husband's rich. Like stand-up comedian. Okay, fine. At least he's not scamming that I'm aware of. So I guess good for him. Still needs to be deported. Even though he's Indian, and so my sympathy doesn't run very deep for him. Is rich and well for himself. The woman is pretty. I'll give her that. But when you are so well off like that, surely you can have any woman you could possibly have. You know, he's not overweight. He's successful. Yeah, he's Indian, so that's a massive debuff, right? But like, you can at least have some other pretty Indian woman. I don't know, right? And he chose a woman who's bragging on TikTok about popping her pussy every night and having a roster of guys, and then starts a podcast talking about her degenerate stuff that emasculate him. But she's Indian, so I know they're into that kind of stuff. But fuck, man. I just
One of the internet is to keep your mouth shut. Everyone should treat the internet like a police encounter instead of like a therapist. Anything you say can and will be used against you by your enemies, especially if your husband is in a male-centered space like a comedy podcast. Akash, did you not sit your wife down and tell her that it's a bad idea to talk about how promiscuous she was in college? Clearly he didn't, because that's not even the worst thing that she did.
He's on my hall pass list.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Chase Crawford, Jacob Elordi, Austin Butler, and who else? Dean Thomas from the Harry Potter movies.
Would y'all ever have an
I was gonna say they're all white guys until the last one, but she was, proudly talking about how many white guys were fucking her. Which, fun fact, chat, all non-white women fucking love white men. They really like to be colonized, even though they hate us, and that's why she's so proud of that.
orgy together with your husband?
Priya,
She tried.
I'm actively trying to have an orgy because this couple is so fucking good looking, and you haven't seen Nav yet, but wait till you fucking see him. His body goes crazy. His face card always slays, never declines. And it's kind of weird because I'm talking about your husband.
There's a difference being a scammer.
That's her husband? Bruh, if some, I know they're having okay, so when two girls get together, they can talk about some really degenerate stuff. Don't ask me how I know. Don't look at the Archcast, okay? Unfortunately, as a vagina holder, I fall into that trap too. So I can understand how these two girlies sitting here talking about their degenerate sex lives, it happens. But to talk about having an orgy with her husband, I would lose my shit if a woman did that to me. Like, if I'm on the Archcast and Lum is just like, yeah, let's have an orgy. I want to have an orgy with your boyfriend or whatever the case is. I'm gonna be like, hey, yo, bitch, you're gonna get shot. I need a boyfriend for that to happen, obviously, but still, the point remains. Like, hold on, there's a limit there. What? Not her husband? Oh, Jesus Christ on a candlestick. Jesus.
And being a hustler. Two very different things.
Okay.
I'm a hustler who scams a little bit. I'm not a scammer who
I'm not
hustles.
gonna lie, that was sexy, and that's why I'm actively trying to have an orgy.
This is
Beat women. We just need to beat women.
a divorce moment right here. If my wife told me that she wanted to have sex with her best friend's husband, said it numerous times on the podcast, and then brought me on to talk about it while she flirts with that guy right in front of me, I would be calling my lawyer and drafting up papers. Now, for all the people saying that these situations are just random and you can never tell if a woman will treat you like this in the future, know that people always show signs that they aren't worth marrying if you wait a little bit before making a commitment. This one was obviously a bad idea. Her and her friend's entire personalities are TikTok.
Like, you don't have to justify your presence as, wanting to be in your divine feminine energy and staying at home and not having as much stress.
I didn't wish her a happy
Birth month?
her happy birth month.
Nah,
Happy birth week.
Gotta stop. bro.
Happy birthday Eve.
Eve today. He didn't wish me happy birthday.
Happy
Eve.
birthday, Eve.
Yes.
That was like watching a horror film. I mean, everybody makes mistakes, but there comes a point where you have to be honest about your situation and do what's necessary. But of course, they didn't do that, which is why this is entertainment. So Akash and his wife started going viral because of clips like this, and I have to say that this is a no-win situation for these two. They screwed up badly, and the only thing they can do is shut up and wait 2 weeks for everyone to forget about it. Because the reality was that most of Akash's fans didn't know about any of this, and it was just drama YouTubers making fun of them, so they could have just stayed quiet. But instead of being smart and keeping the hate isolated to people who don't even watch them, they decide to do a podcast where Akash looks super uncomfortable the whole time, and we are assured that everything that Jesleen said was just a misunderstanding.
Okay, so number one rule of the internet chat: when you get into a controversy, you shut the fuck up. You don't talk about it. Unless you're trying to avoid that for more clout, like if it's been unfairly thrust upon you, whatever the case is. But if you fuck up and you're in drama for whatever reason, the best thing to do is just ignore it and let it die. Maybe log off the internet for a little bit. Honestly, carry on doing what you're doing in general, and just that way you're not considered running away. Just carry on, business as usual. I just ignore the controversy, and within a few days to a week, it will be over. There's other news, there's other things happening, and people will get distracted by it. This is just how it fucking works in that case.
Repressed Indian girl that I didn't even watch Jersey Shore in high school because I felt it to be too inappropriate. So when I got to college, I'm like, oh my God, I can dress however I want. I can do whatever I want.
You can have a roster of frat boys.
What does a roster mean?
So it didn't actually translate to a roster. It just meant like 2 guys I was talking to and flirting with at the same time. That's it.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's a lie, chat. That's a fucking lie. Colleges are slut factories. I can guarantee that's a fucking lie. If you send a woman to college, you're just asking for her to be ran through. It just is what it is, especially if she's moderately pretty. This is why every single civilization throughout the entirety of human history had rules against them and suppressed them, as they actually love being degenerate. It's kind of the same vein that every man wants their own personal slut. Obviously, there's some, men that are into the dommy mommy fetish, and that's a different story, which please seek help. Yes, I am kink shaming you. But most men want to take a pure and sweet innocent woman and turn her into their own personal slut. And women enjoy that. It's not a fetish. It's just natural biological, functions happening there. And that's just how it works. But if you don't put restrictions on women, and then you send them off onto their own, and let them dress how they want, do whatever they want, then they will become sluts. It's a guaranteed fact that's been proven time and time again. And we can see it in the modern age here. That they're just going to enjoy it, because what's stopping them? They're not going to get pregnant. They're on birth control. If they do get pregnant, they can have an abortion. But there's no consequences for their actions. They can just do that, even though they become very damaged. The pair bonding's all fucked up. They have a host of mental issues. Their fertility's almost all gone. And no man actually wants them, because even though every man wants their own personal slut, no man really wants a woman. It's been a slut for other men, because that's supposed to be your property. That's your territory. That's supposed to be your woman, and she's been used by other men. That's not yours anymore. There's a problem there. At least you can try to find a woman that has in the single digits of the body count, especially on the lower end. Those do exist out there. What she was describing with her roster of men with her girlies on the podcast, yeah, no, those are not single digits. Those are not single digits, I can promise you that.
And when you say hooking up, I think people
When
think you
I
meant
mean
fucking.
hooking up, I just meant making out. Again, like everything I say.
Hooking up does not mean making out. You know exactly what it means. You can't be like, I'm just a girl. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's all being misunderstood, and I'm the victim. Everyone knows that hooking up means having sex. You literally had a whole line about your pussy pop being every single night.
It is so amplified and hyperbolic because it's so like incongruous to who I actually am as a person.
Right. So you're saying you're a big old prude.
Yeah, literally.
Let me just say, as a person who uses Twitter, I don't think saying that you're Indian as an excuse for your behavior is going to make people trust you.
But I have IBS. There's no way.
I do have IBS.
Indian food's never going to beat the allegations. So Jasleen is claiming that she's innocent and was a virgin until she met Akash, but I don't believe her at all. If you listen to both episode 6 and episode 7 of her podcast, it's apparent that she's had sexual contact with multiple men, even saying that being good at oral is a green flag. How would she know how to judge that if she's only been with one person? Best case scenario is that she's trying to misrepresent herself on the lines of technically being a virgin because she didn't have vaginal intercourse. Though I don't believe her on that either, because trying to push your close friends into group sex is not the move of someone who has only had sex with one person. Neither is wearing incredibly revealing clothing on Instagram. So there's no way she didn't understand American cultural norms like the meaning of hooking up as the wife of someone who used to be on a show called Guy Code where they talked about stuff like that. Also, the prostitute philosophy about how a guy should value you just for existing around him doesn't make her look innocent either. This entire podcast just makes Jasleen look worse, and it makes Akash look like a loser. Right here was probably the most telling moment for me.
You're cool with him just getting a hand job massage?
Totally.
Are you
Yeah, I know.
Yes, I've said that it's less work for me.
I don't.
Can you talk to our wives?
I don't believe this. Can I tell you why I don't believe this? You know the horrible decisions?
Yeah.
You guys are like, dude, I think your girl will be down. She keeps saying how pretty Wheezy is. And I was like, even then, I was like, no, the fuck. She's all talk. She's all bluster. That's why I haven't tested the hand job thing.
Paper tiger.
She's our dog. She's a yapping little dog behind a fence.
I'm guessing she thinks that this is like a 4D chess move to cover up for the fact that she wants to cheat. She's only saying it's okay for him to do it because, for one, she knows that he won't, and because, two, if she does cheat, she can say, Well, yeah, but I said that you could do it if you wanted to. Nobody who actually loves you and is emotionally connected would allow a hall pass. This is one of those moments where a really bad person is trying to LARP as a good person, but doesn't actually know what a good person would say in that moment, so anything she says just further exposes her. The correct move was to apologize to her husband, ignore the haters, never bring this up again, and stop oversharing and treating the internet like your therapist. Also,
And I guess, do I need to watch more of these videos? Because it's been such a long time since I've seen stuff like this. I feel like this is what I get for not watching things before you sleep for well, a couple years now. Because I'm just sitting here just in disbelief after every single word that's coming out of her mouth. Why did you think that was a good idea in any way, shape, or form to say that? I never liked the idea of hall passes. If you do a hall pass, it's all just like it should just be like celebrities, right? Like or anime characters. The things are never gonna happen because it's like, oh, okay, yeah, they're attractive, whatever the case is, right? Because even when you're in a relationship, you can find other people attractive, but you're not actually gonna do anything with it. It's just like a fun hypothetical would be like, okay, yeah, I think Jalal from Fairy Tale is hot, you know, like, but like obviously Jalal isn't fucking real, and so like it's not gonna happen. The only thing you should be really focused on is your significant other. Like you really shouldn't be talking about other people or really, exactly characters as attractive because like you should just be more focused on your significant other in that case. These standards, these thoughts in each other's minds that don't need to be there in the first place by doing the whole hall pass thing. I heard someone say she's asking for or encouraging open relationship. She's already cheating and is trying to calm her conscience. Yes. Yes, if a woman asks for an open relationship, run because she's a whore. Or she's either already cheated on you or she's thinking about cheating. She's already like a few steps away from that stuff. So, no fault the force needs to go out the window.
Akash, you're on the road a lot as a comedian. I would not trust this chick to be faithful when you aren't around. Because when it comes to people like Jesleen, I think the reality is that they actually despise the person that they're with, which is why she treats them poorly and can't help but say inappropriate stuff. I think a part of the gaslight from Akash on this is that Jesleen, slept on the floor with him one time when he was broke, but also they broke up when he was broke, and she mysteriously got back together with him right around the time that he started making money again, which is suspicious considering all the gold digger ideology that comes out of her mouth. However, no matter how ride or die she was in the past, I don't think that justifies her present treatment of her significant other. Now, they haven't had any drama since as far as I've seen, and her podcast appears to have been canceled, so hopefully Akash and his wife have learned their lesson. But speaking of people who are much further down the line of publicly displaying how unhealthy their relationship dynamic is, allow me to introduce you to Anissa Joma and her husband, Ian Joma.
idubbbz, no!
Formerly known as Ian Washburn.
The only reason why we chose my name over his last name is because his last name is just objectively ugly. It's just like an ugly last name. Like Washburn sounds horrendous.
In the past, you might have recognized Anissa as the prostitute Twitch streamer girlfriend of the once popular creator idubbbz, who was famous for doing a creator deep dive series called Content Cop that was very well liked by a huge portion of the internet. But in more recent years, it's become obvious that she wears the pants in the relationship, and therefore she has graduated from being called idubbbz's girlfriend and earned herself her own name.
Can we chill on asking if Ian's here or whatever? I get it's funny or whatever, but I've spent the past 4 years living in his shadow, so to speak, and I've been trying to do my own thing on the internet for 7 years before I even met him, and it is painful.
Okay, first off, nose ring, which is not that surprising, seeing that the more recent clip has her covered in fucking ugly ass tattoos. I have seen it a few times where women within the content creation space who are married to other content creators get very upset that they were referred to as X and X's wife or girlfriend or whatever the case is. And every time I see that, which is very far and few between, but whenever I do, I want to slap the bitches in the face. Your husband, men are usually generally more successful, and that's actually a good thing. Woman, you wouldn't be with him if he wasn't successful. You would look down on him even more if he was actually broke. You were able to claim somebody famous. You should be happy that he chose you. When somebody is that popular and that rich, and they can have any woman in the world, and they choose you, you should be fucking happy and proud of yourself for in that case. You should not be like being like, oh well, I'm in their shadow. Stop referring to me as in this case, idubbbz wife or girlfriend. You know, I do my own thing too. I'm my own strong, independent woman. No, shut the fuck up. You got the bag. You got the golden ring. You should be way more appreciative of the fact that you're with them in particular. Like, get over yourself. Get over your fucking self. Jesus Christ. Like, you're supposed to be there to support your husband. That is the woman's role in the relationship, is to support. And if he's already successful, then you help him even more successful. If he's not and he's struggling, then you do your best to make it easier for him. Whatever you can do as a woman to make his life easier, so that way he can actually become successful. Not stop referring to me as idubbbz wife. I do my own content creation too, and have been trying for 7 years. Like, how could you be so mean to me about this? Ugh. I can't stand it. I can't stand that. But I've seen this whole, like, oh, living in my husband's shadow thing. I've seen it from relationships that are a lot better than Anissa and idubbbz. And I still want to slap the bitches that do that. Because to me, it's like proto-feminism. It's still feminism.
I'd rather have 5 people want to be here for me than like a bunch asking for Ian. Thanks.
Congrats, Anissa. Now you're the star. Talking about you now draws far more interest than talking about idubbbz. You made it, and all you had to do was taint the career of your husband so that it would be easy for you to outshine him. Personally, I think this is the move of a true anti-capitalist.
I'm more extreme than Ian, where I'm like pretty.
Holy shit. I know I could tell that other clip was old because she didn't have as many tattoos and stuff like that. But she's so fat. And those tattoos are so ugly. I don't know. Obviously, women getting tattoos is a huge red flag. Like, since it's so popular these days, 1 or 2 can be relatively okay. Because it has become so normalized that that's a thing. Once you get past like 2, it's a sign of severe mental illness, which her being, you know, a porn star of some sorts is obviously its own sign of mental illness and daddy issues as it is. But just what the just oh my god.
Anti-capitalist. I hate landlords.
Now, for those of you who have jobs and don't have time to keep up with all the idubbbz drama over the past 5 years, basically what happened is that idubbbz, or Ian, got into a relationship with Anissa. Anissa has always wanted to be a popular streamer, but she's untalented, so she's jealous of the success of her husband. Because she's jealous, instead of being happy for her partner's success, she constantly sabotages his career by publicly shaming him, and instead of getting rid of this girl who obviously doesn't love him, Ian defends her, and even more damning in terms of social media, he stopped making content that people like. Now, like I said with Jesseline, the blackpilling part of this is that oftentimes in these cases, people just see the end result and make claims that you can never tell if your partner will end up like this or not. But the reality is that girls like Anissa and Jesseline always show signs that they will become like this in the future early on in the relationship. In Anissa's case, it was day 1.
2016 would also be the year Anissa would begin her relationship with the once popular YouTuber, idubbbz. This relationship started out as all healthy ones do, with Anissa cheating on her ex-boyfriend in order to be with Ian. That's right, before Anissa and Ian began dating, Anissa was in an active relationship with another League of Legends streamer named Acadian. Anissa and Acadian began dating around late 2015, and this relationship lasted.
Okay, now I feel bad for this guy. Like, he's handsome. Apparently he's successful with the League of Legends streaming. I don't know how long of her, like, porn stuff was going on there for. But if she was still doing that while she was dating him, then that's, I guess it's once again, he did it to himself. Because that's not even a red flag at that point. Like, that's a whole ass nuke being dropped, and he still say yes. Be like, okay. But still, what the fuck?
Lasted until the first day Anissa would meet Ian.
I don't know how you can see this as a man and be like, yeah, she definitely won't treat me like that, right? And when I say this, understand that Anissa started treating Ian like shit very early on. They got together in 2016, and in 2017, she was already being incredibly inappropriate with a YouTuber named Chris Raygun, who was also in a relationship with someone else at the time.
Wait, what? Sorry, okay, hold the phone. I used to be a massive fan of Chris Raygun back in the day. Like, I've talked about his relationship with Lacey Green a few times as well, because that seemed to, like, I remember that happening. Back in my day, there was a thing called Gamergate, and there's also the skeptic community. They were kind of in tandem with each other, so there's a lot of overlap for the creators and the topics being done there. With Gamergate, what was happening there, the skeptic community became, like, anti-SJW and pro-SJW, which meant social justice warrior. Chris Ray Gun was on the anti-SJW side. He wasn't really in the part of the skeptic community specifically, but he was basically somebody who was center-left, who was against all of what we call today woke nonsense with identity politics going on there, Black Lives Matter, DEI, all that fun stuff. And he used to make a lot of parodies and joke videos before, and he was great. He was great. And then he started dating Lacey Green, who wasn't SJW herself, actually. She was a social justice warrior. We're gonna use the terminology from back in the day properly. She tried to bridge the gap between the right and the left, because she actually talked to Sargon, and Sargon was nice to her, and that caught her way off guard. And so then she's like, okay, maybe these people that are anti-SJWs aren't so bad. And then she started talking to Chris Ray Gun. They dated. They both had their reputations sunk because of it. Lacey Green lost all her credibility on the left. A lot of people were not necessarily happy with Chris Ray Gun because they saw him for being a traitor too. Like would think before you sleep in Brittany Venti. They thought she was going to ruin him. And honestly, kind of seemed to be the case once again. Chris Ray Gun was never like some like hardcore tradcath, traditional's right type of deal. But he definitely seemed to go even more left-leaning after dating Lacey Green, which was sad based off what he used to actually be able to do. But you're telling me that even though I know all this lore, what happened there, she apparently tried to get with Chris Ray Gun? And I didn't know about this? I mean, I guess... Okay. Okay.
Anissa being attracted to other men is a common trope when she's in a relationship. Another man Anissa had a crush on around this time was named Chris Ray Gun. Anissa would also show her romantic interest on Chris on Twitter, where she tweeted out a shirtless photo of him with the caption full of thirsting and squirt emojis.
I mean, chat, I did think Chris Ray Gun was hot back in the day. No further comment.
Well, personally, I think it's inappropriate to publicly post about your celebrity crushes when you're in a relationship, but I can look past that because it's like a fantasy. However, in Anissa's case, her celebrity crush that she is openly fangirling over while she's in a relationship with idubbbz is someone she regularly interacts with. And really, I think the breaking point for Ian Joma was around 5 years ago when Anissa opened up an OnlyFans account. He got backlash and was like, actually, I'm okay with being a cuck.
For those of you who are unaware of the drama I recently brought upon myself, I'll fill you in. My girlfriend started an OnlyFans account, which is a website where you can upload amateur porn. I think all of it is cool. I'm okay with sex workers and girls being slutty. It has no bearing on my life whatsoever.
As someone who watched this video the day it came out, I love watching it 5 years later knowing that this decision had such a huge effect on Ian's life that he's now so poor that he streams on the ground. I hope that in the current year, we've all started to see how toxic these open-minded beliefs are. It turns out that traditional values and prejudices were correct the whole time. Now, normally I would say this is sad, but idubbbz is such a backstabbing POS that I enjoy every clip I see of Anissa shaming him.
If I look at you, even in like the viewfinder, extremely masculine chin, which is also why I like the buzz cut, because it like emphasizes your chin and your like heavy brow. Like, I would argue you have one of the most... Part of the reason why I don't want to have a child with you is because I'm terrified if we have a girl that she's going to have all your masculine features.
Is
Chat, I can't... We are 3/4 of the way in the video, and I'm getting one-shotted by every single time each voice speaks at this point. First we had the Indian chick, and now we have Anissa. And it's not getting any better. Like, yeah, I don't want to have a kid with you because the baby would be ugly as fuck. The chance of that happening is so far and few between. Like, the only thing I can think of is, like, there's this one wrestling dude who had a daughter, and she looks like a copy-paste version of him. And it's highly unfortunate, but she, like, leans into it. I've based off the photos that I've seen. So, I mean, good for her for that, though I imagine it still probably hurts a little bit deep down inside. But, like, at least he had the kid in the first place, and just genetics was unfortunate. But she's like, yeah, no, you're too ugly to have kids with. So why are you with them then? What's the point? Like, the whole point of dating is that you're like, well, not the whole point, but like, you're supposed to be attracted to who you're with. Obviously, personality is a huge factor into a relationship. But first thing you notice when you see somebody is how they look. Obviously, like, first impressions are extremely important. How you look and how you present yourself, how you dress, your haircut, your physique overall, all extremely important because that's literally the don't know a person at all. That's literally all they see. The whole point is that you're supposed to be attracted to that person in the first place. Okay, you find this person hot. I want to get to know them, and maybe, hopefully, they're a good person, and we can see how things go. None of that went through her head. I'm assuming she just got with him because he was famous and rich at the time. Because who cares, right? She just wants clout, she just wants fame, and she wants power, and he's an easy target. I've heard before that idubbbz never actually had a girlfriend before her. And honestly, that could explain why he's so attached to her. Because he's worried he's not going to be able to get anybody else. She's also implying in that statement that, like, she kind of actually wants kids. Which is a little bit surprising, seeing that she is a whore. She is his girl boss. She is, you know, a modern woman. I guess the biological clock is also going after her too. But still.
Isn't that interesting? I think about that a lot.
Yeah, I have never met somebody who has such an eagle face. Like, you have a very strong brow, which is very attractive on men. To be honest, there's a lot of attractive women that have that as well, like Kristen Stewart.
She is trying to salvage this, and it's not going well.
Yeah.
But combined with me, I think the combination would be bad for a woman.
I think you're tripping.
I don't know.
Holy shit, never in my best dreams would I have imagined a clip as great as idubbbz looking like he's expressing interest in having kids towards the end. But Anissa says she thinks he's too ugly. I wonder if she would have said that about Chris Ray Gun.
I actually don't think
You know what? I'll give her credit. They do have similar face shapes. Not exact. I think Chris Ray Gun's a lot more attractive, but he's also got hair, and that helps too. And he's a lot funnier. And I'm biased. Anyways.
There's a world
where I appeal to straight women.
You could appeal to straight
You know what?
women.
I think you're right. Someone said, is there a look that appeals to everyone?
Hassan Abi appeals to everyone.
Oh my god. I will never get people who think it's okay to publicly shame their partner. For one, the more you shame your partner, the worse it makes you look because you're the one stupid enough to be with a loser. And two, in my opinion, this is a breakup move. It would be an argument the first time it happened, and then it would be the end of the relationship if the behavior were repeated. Because your job as a significant other is to be your partner's biggest cheerleader when it comes to how they're seen in public. And if they aren't doing that, then in my opinion, they're trash. Not to say that people can't communicate with friends and family to process difficult parts of the relationship, but if your wife is just unnecessarily shitting on you in public constantly, then that's a sign that you need to get rid of this person.
This is a great Anissa moment. You know her eternal quest to humiliate him? So this is a new chapter.
I don't know if chat can back me up. No. AFABs, gay men, whatever. The bigger the dick, the worse it's sex. Like a lot of men that have...
Just the premise alone, he's trapped. he's trapped from the beginning. Either he A, is bad at sex, or B, has a tiny penis.
Yeah.
There's no escape.
I don't know if...
Well, I can't with this. I fucking can't. I hate women so much, chat. I hate women so much, okay? I fucking can't. Though I will say idubbbz looks a lot more attractive now that he's got hair. Which is a shame that he's such a cuck.
Chat can back me up.
Nope. Back me up, chat.
Again, this would be really sad if idubbbz weren't a terrible person. I mean, Anissa just like has professional levels of spite for her husband. There are multiple levels here. First, there's like no correct answer here. There's just a less bad one. And two, you get to hear about your partner having sex with other men. She's flaunting her sexual experience publicly while idubbbz doesn't have any outside of his wife because Anissa is his first girlfriend.
Oh,
and you know what? Everyone's got to start somewhere, and certainly it's better than being used up, so I don't blame him for that. But the part where I lose respect is the part where he just lets this chick walk all over him.
I've met Ian. I've talked to Ian. I've seen his content over the years. Ian is an asshole, but he's also a very passive, live and let live, kind of easygoing guy. He's not a confrontational, aggressive, hostile person. His girlfriend, though, I think absolutely is. I can guarantee you that whenever there's a conflict, she's the one getting mad and he's the one saying like, bro, like stop, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with this, right? And so that's, I think, kind of what happened. If you've ever been in a relationship with a really domineering, aggressive, hostile person like Anissa seems to be, you would know how much that kind of puts your entire mind into like a brain fog. You're in survival mode. Exactly. You're constantly in fight or flight around this person. And you also like them, but there's this element of them that's like extremely mercurial, aggressive, and seemingly so in a random way. That to me sucks the life force out of a person. So
I mean, that's just the definition of abusive relationship, right? What Asmund's describing right there. On one hand, I sympathize because once you get into an abusive relationship, it's hard to get out of it because you don't know anything else at that point, right? You still like the person as she humiliates him constantly, but maybe when the cameras are off, she like hugs him and kisses him and apologizes and say everything's fine. She might do like some small like you'll have a period of pure assholishness for like a few days. And you think, okay, like you get tired of it, but as soon as you hit the point where like, okay, I'm done, they do something nice for you again, and then they smile or they look extra pretty or whatever the case is, and then you remember all the good times that you had with them, or at least the parts in the beginning when they weren't this person. You think, oh, okay, it's fine. They just hormonal. They were in a bad mood. Oh, life is hard, whatever the excuse is in this case, especially when you're a passive person like idubbbz. And so you roll over and you just accept it because if you fight back, that makes things worse. And you don't want to make things worse because things are already bad enough as it is. It puts you in a horrible position. The only solution is just to get out. But it's easier said than done because then you have that person crying. As soon as you want to leave, they they get on their hands and knees and they cry and they apologize. They swear they'll change, and they might do so for like a week or two, but then so you believe them, and then that's who they are, and then it goes back to that, and just the cycle fucking repeats. And someone like idubbbz, he would have to completely get off the internet and then try to find somebody else that doesn't know about these things, but at the same time also change himself because. He's at this point, I feel like he's a beaten dog. Like, he did it to himself, right? My sympathy only goes so far. He's the one who got into a relationship with her. He cheated on her previous boyfriend to get with him. And she did OnlyFans and all this other fun stuff, right? He's now a beaten dog. And when you go through literally years of abuse, because they've been together since, 2017? I think that's what Think Before You Sleep said. Like, for basically 10 years now, you're a changed person. If he's going to fix himself, it's going to be a year's progress that's going to need to be done, and well, he might be a lost cause.
So fast, it is insane.
This is probably true. Actually, allow me to add nuance because I don't think idubbbz sees it like this. I think if you asked him, he would say he does stand up for himself, but the problem is that it doesn't work.
Like, as our relationship went on, I share a lot. He's wanted me to share less. I've wanted him to share more. We've started to meet in the middle.
Yeah, so they probably have talked about Anissa making him look bad numerous times, but she knows he's not brave enough to do something like leave her, and because there's no threat of negative consequences, it just falls on deaf ears. Instead, she does whatever she wants and continues to treat the internet like her therapist by oversharing, which further adds to the pile of public blackmail against idubbbz. All of this makes me think about a book I read called Good to Great. It's a book about how good businesses transition into becoming the top businesses. So it's about companies, but if you're smart, the ideas are universally applicable. One such universally applicable idea comes from Chapter 3, where the research team for that book found out that it's not a well-written business plan or favorable market conditions that cause a business to become a top company and sustain their success. The most important thing for a successful business are the people in the room. Competent and good people are so important that it's not even worth it to develop a business plan until you have the right people in the room. This is very much something that was said a lot about the founder of Apple, Steve Jobs, and the biography that was written on him. He always wanted to be around A players and not the C or the D team. But where I'm going with this is that it certainly is also true when it comes to relationships. Everyone thinks they can pull someone out of the bargain bin and mold them into the perfect partner, when the reality is that if someone's not already motivated to be great, you won't convince them. So if you're having long talks about how people need to change or be better and nothing ever changes or gets better, the correct answer is to not continue doing that. The answer is to go find someone who has already figured it out or is motivated to figure it out. Once you have found that person, the next step to a healthy relationship is to not demotivate them by falling into your bad habits.
Yeah. I feel a little bit personally attacked there. Thank you, TBYS. I know from my own personal experience, like it's hard because like it's really easy to say that you can't make a person change, right? Only thing that can make a person change is themselves, and it's a very true statement. And you would think I would have learned it with my mom, for example, as my mom was a horrible fucking human being, and I knew she was a lost cause. I would have watched so many of my family members try to fix her and make her better, and it never fucking worked out. And I knew it was the case. I saw it from the beginning, right? But then I get into a relationship myself, and I think for some reason, I don't know why, but I get into a relationship myself, and I think the exact same thing, right? I want to make them better. I want to give them motivation. I want to help change them and mold them to be a better person. And a fun fact, chat, no, that did not work out. And many years went down the drain for a fruitless cause. So, I know those I can fix them memes are nice, funny memes. Since I know you guys are men, there's no females here. Right, the girl failure trope is really popular. Yeah, no, you can't fix them. You can't fix them, okay? Listen, I know it's easier said than done, right? Like, oh yeah, it makes sense. You can't logically fix them. Then you get into the relationship yourself, and then you try to fix them anyways. No, seriously. Listen, the dumb woman's talking. The smart man is talking. Think before you sleep. We both say don't bother with it. Just try to find somebody else that's already in a much better position than the girl failure or the loser guy or whatever the case is, or the alcoholic mother. Like, just cut your losses and try to find somebody, please. You're telling me I can't fix the goth cutie with BPD? Yes, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but that's a lost cause. There's no help. You can take a good girl and you can make her into a goth cutie, and maybe try to avoid the BPD. But you can't take the goth cutie with BBT and make her into a good girl.
As for your exes, don't feel bad about breaking off the relationship because for the most part, if someone is resistant to change, then the only way they're going to learn is through suffering and loss. And by shielding them from that, you're only prolonging their mediocrity. Last, the book says that if you can't find the right person for the position, then keep looking. The wrong people are so disastrous that it's better that no one fill the role than to have it filled with the wrong person. I know looking can be frustrating, but taking anyone who applies, or if you're an employee, going with any company who will have you because you're desperate is how you get into a situation like idubbbz or Akash, who, from the looks of it, are really just holding on to their partners because they're the first person who paid attention to them, and they're too weak to break up to find someone who is a better fit. It's sad to watch. Well,
I mean, I agree it's sad to watch, even though they did it themselves, but they're not gonna with their life on public display. There's no fixing this. Like, any woman who does 5 minutes of research and finds this kind of stuff is not gonna be able to respect them unless they've actually changed. But honestly, with the whole company aspect of things, that Think Before You Sleep brings up, there's a reason why a lot of companies are failing these days. They're stocking their stuff full of Indians. I know it's like a relationship video going on here. But there's a reason why cultures that pride nepotism and family and friends in general over actual meritocracy fail. Which is actually a majority of the third world because they're way more collective. There's reasons why they're more collective because that's how their society and culture was created based off the resources that they had. It's basically the cold weather theory. We're up in the west because it's so much colder. We had to figure out how to long-term plan and work together, and having the best people for the jobs for different things produce the best results so we didn't fucking die when winter came around. Versus the warmer climates didn't really have to worry about that to the same extent, and had to deal with actually more danger, either other humans or other dangerous animals, and then working in pairs that way and with the collective was better for survivability there. To wrap it back up to the Indians in this case, because there is that and their collectivist mentality, they don't actually use meritocracy. And so when they come to America, that's why you see all these different tech businesses like Microsoft, Google, YouTube. Not sure if Apple's faced it just yet. Capital One is facing some controversies with Indians being hired too. They just hire their own. They quite literally just hire their own or replace it, and then everything goes to fucking shit and the code goes down the fucking drain. It's an absolute disaster. So it is extremely important to pick and choose who you associate with and how you work with people as best as possible. I don't support guilt by association, but there is reasoning for why people use it, because if you're relatively okay with certain actions that person does, if you're not actually speaking up or saying anything about it and you associate with the person, that means you're relatively okay with it. Now, the problem with content creation in particular is that a lot of people misunderstood friends. With content creation, you can do a stream collab with somebody, you can do a video, you can be on a podcast together where you're both invited as guests. And because of that, people automatically assume that you're friends because you talk to each other on occasion on other people's platforms and that kind of deal. That doesn't mean anything, actually. It all depends on how much you actually talk to each other behind the scenes, what interests you have, and if obviously you collab a lot, that's usually a better sign. Some of those cases, even the lots of the collabs, are simply just business once again. But content creation is definitely a little bit more of a unique scene in that case, but there is some truth to that application too. It just depends simply on the context.
Akash is sad to watch. Fuck idubbbz. I hope Anissa and her husband never get divorced so they can serve as a warning to other people who might make similar relationship decisions. It's good to have a public example of the type of relationship that you're trying to avoid as you search for the ideal one. Anyway, thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you in the next video.
Thank you. Think before you sleep. It was a great video, and I need to watch your content a bit more. Especially since apparently I've sheltered myself so much. I'm not used to seeing all these crazy woman statements. I've been so focused on like regular ass politics and different things along those lines instead, and I'm just sitting here being like, God fucking damn it. Like, I know I hate women for these exact reasons, but Jesus Christ, it's oh man, you can't do it. You can't do enough.